what really has been the reaction of the American public ever since visuals of the assassination attempt have come out?
Well, thanks very much for having me this morning. It's really a sad day when violence creeps into the political sphere as it has. The reaction should have been according to Gandhian principles, the principles of Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, of coming together and condemning violence. Unfortunately, in our divided situation, that is not occurring either on social media or in news releases from various politicians and ordinary people. People tend to see this through their own partisan eyes, and that's extremely unfortunate. I think President Biden has shown admirable leadership in terms of condemning this, as have others on both sides. But it's a time when we have to get back to the principles of democracy. And it's time for great democracies like the United States and India to come together in defense of those principles, which, as I say, Gandhi and Martin Luther King and others have shown us as the way forward to peace and prosperity in our countries and in the world.
Mr. Vickery, do you somewhere feel that this assassination attempt will lead to a larger conversation about gun violence in the United States of America, or do you feel that this will end up being a political conversation and there won't be much focus on a real issue of gun culture?
Well, you're very wise to bring this up, and this is exactly the point. What should happen, of course, is a condemnation of gun violence. As you know, the shooter used an AR-15 style military rifle, which enabled him to get off 7 shots very quickly. This has been used time and time again in mass shootings in the United States. When Joe Biden was a senator, he got legislation passed which banned this kind of weapon. Unfortunately, that ban has expired. Should it result in a more serious look again at gun violence in America? Of course it should. But I don't believe it will. If 30 murdered first graders in Connecticut won't do it for you, I think nothing will. And we've seen again this business of people looking at this through partisan view, and you can rest assured that there are people who are advocates of a distorted view of the Second Amendment right to bear arms, who will say, well, this shows that you have to arm more good people so they can shoot the bad people. And of course, that is not the way forward. Gandhi, Martin Luther King, any sane person can see that that just degenerates into more violence. I believe that there will be people again who will try to steer this conversation to real issues. But at this point, it's going to take some mighty interventions to be able to do that.
Mr. Vickery, will there not then be questions raised to the Republican Party also, basis what has happened, given that Joe Biden has made regulation of guns a big part of his campaign? Not just now, of course, it's been there for quite some time, but it is this time around as well. One can say that just a few days ago, he's spoken about how he wants to ban assault weapons in the United States of America and regulate guns in the US. But do you not feel that what has happened at Donald Trump's rally actually then somewhere raises questions that ought to be answered by Republicans who are being questioned by Democrats day in and day out for their stance and position on the gun lobby and gun violence in the United States?
Well, it certainly should. But history has shown that the Republican Party, the party of Donald Trump, will just double down, that will want us to go back to the days of the Old West when everybody was carrying a gun and you could pull it out and have shootouts and there are too many people in the United States who believe that is the way forward. Eventually, a saner view of this will happen, and it may happen and may have some effect on the margins, the people who are undecided. There's no question that the diehards of the Trump constituency are not going to change in regard to rifles and guns of all kinds and descriptions as being a good symbol of America. That's not the America which I've known and deplore. You know, I was set to go to the convention in 1968 as a young law graduate with Robert F. Kennedy before he was assassinated. So we've been through these times. I think that we will come out on the other side with the help of other democratic friends like India and democracies around the world if we stick together. But it's rough times right now.
Mr. Vickery, at the same time, although this may not be the most appropriate time to be discussing the same, but there is already a lot of chatter about the political impact of what has happened. And one cannot deny the juncture at which this assassination attempt has taken place at a time when the Democrats are already feeling a lot of pressure ever since the first presidential election debate took place. Joe Biden is on a daily basis having to explain why he must be the face of the Democrats. And now, of course, this assassination attempt has taken place against Donald Trump. Do you feel that this could possibly have an impact on the elections?
Well, I think there's no question that it can at this particular time. You saw Donald Trump raising his fist and trying to put it into his image of strongman, defying various ghosts and goblins, which he says are out there, whether they be immigrants, whether they be his political opponents, which he describes as vermin, whether he wants to lead another attack on the Constitution and the Capitol as he did January 6th. And so this will be fodder for him. He is a consummate reality TV performer. That's where he got his real start. And so it is, and it's, but on the other side of that, there are an awful lot of good people in the United States that will be able, over a course of time, to raise their own voices. And, you know, one thing we've learned in the United States about shootings is, unfortunately, they come to be kind of routine. So we've got 3-4 months here in regard to this campaign. And Joe Biden and others are trying to steer it in a more sane direction. And I believe that can happen. It happened in 2020 when people didn't give Joe a chance. Trump was riding high from his defying of COVID at that time. You remember how he put that into his narrative. This will go into the narrative, and it will have a rally around the leader effect immediately. But it's not over till it's over, and there's a lot to be done between now and November.
Yes, Mr. Raymond Vickery, thank you so much, sir, for joining us on the broadcast with your perspective and some ground opinion of what's happening in the United States of America.